Good morning, everyone. Gonna give it just a few minutes, let a few more people trickle in. Hope everyone's having a great morning so far. Gonna give it just a couple minutes, everyone. Let a few more folks trickle in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Got some exciting things to chat about this morning with you all. Gonna be some good stuff. Hope you got your pens and paper and ready to take some good notes. Also going to encourage usage of the chat function this morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to place those in the chat. And at the very end, we'll definitely have a little bit of time. There we go. Morning, Bill.
How's your day going so far, Lorenzo?
It's going excellent, Mr. Halligan. How about yourself?
It's going well, thank you.
Good, good. Since we have just a smaller group, we're going to give it just a couple seconds. I did actually unmute everyone, or I'm sorry, I added the mic. Typically, we don't have the mic. We'll use the chat function, but if we do have a smaller group this morning, we are actually going to be able to all speak and talk together. So I'm going to mute us in the meantime, but we will have access to our mics this morning. And Mr. Halligan, just so you know, some of this may be a little bit of review for you. We've touched base on some of these a few months back on some of the things in our customer webinar. It's one of the things that is really exciting. Ooh, over Mr. Dobler. One of the things for everyone on here on our call, we actually have these webinars for our customers once a month. So this is a great opportunity. I know for everyone, some of you are not our customers. I know some of our customers did join, and we definitely appreciate having you, but definitely wanted to let you all know, Mr. Halligan, Rich, I see Mr. Dobner on here as well. Some of these things may be review for you all, but there's still obviously going to be some really good things here. And let's go ahead and get ready to get started here. Want to respect everyone's time. Again, because we have a smaller group, I have opened up everyone's mics. They are muted now, but feel free. We can ask questions through the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can all talk together. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started this morning. Here we go. There we go. So today, what we are going to be discussing are some tips on how to organically engage. Organically engage. We've really been hitting this quite often and quite aggressively over here at Socially In and the LinkedIn and in the social selling space. And then the main reason is because, as you guys are all aware on here, LinkedIn is becoming a noisy place, a noisy marketplace. And it hasn't changed the ability to sell on LinkedIn. Actually selling usage engagement on LinkedIn is at an all-time high right now. But what it has absolutely changed and absolutely shifted is your approach has to be so much more intentional than it used to be. A lot of people are playing the quote unquote quantity game with LinkedIn. And one of the things that we're just learning as we're watching analytics and research is that there are still some basic practical best tips and best practices to keep in mind as far as how to properly organically engage with people. And that's what we really want to talk about today is what are ways to that you can separate yourself from the brand, from your from other brands, from other competitors. What are ways that you could really separate yourself from the noise today? We have a combination of some very actionable tips, some things just to conceptually think about, but that's the thing that we want to talk about today. The question I want everyone to be asking themselves is this very simply: why should someone engage with you? Whether it's buying, whether it's engaging, whether it's dialogue, why? What type of profile? What type of environment are you creating via LinkedIn that would make someone want to engage with you? And that's an important question because one of the things we know, going back to the usage of LinkedIn now, is that people are engaging with people. So if not you, they will be engaging with your competitors. They will be engaging with someone else. So these are really going to be some important tips for us to keep in mind as we go through this today. Number one thing that we talked about in our customer webinar a few months ago, and LinkedIn has really taken this to the next level, is smart replies. Smart replies. One of the really cool things that LinkedIn is doing now is they're really starting to leverage AI and pre-populated responses, very similar to when you all go to Google and you start to click and it finishes your searches, different things like that. One of the really cool things about LinkedIn algorithms that's important is that LinkedIn is actually basing your pre-populated responses on you. And the other really cool thing is the more that you use these, the better that they will get at suggestions and different things like that for you. So setting up smart replies, you can put them in, you can pick them yourselves, you can create ones. The other reason this is important is about efficiency. That's another thing that we're always going to have and have you to keep in the back of your head is how can you replicate and can you duplicate different things? One of the things we all know as salespeople on this call is that oftentimes our conversations are very similar with our prospects, very similar. So if we understand that and we can predict the questions that people are going to ask, what do you do? Why you? All of those things, let's make it easy on ourselves and really start to leverage smart replies that just make engagement very easy for you. Again, taking a quick second and thinking through what are the questions that my prospects would ask. You know, we have an automation system that leverages this automation process here at Socially In. And that's one thing that we actually incorporate are what we call click and send templates. And we encourage people to consider what are all of those things that you already know a prospect is going to ask you. Set up a pre-made response that, yes, you could customize, but make that work easy for yourself. Make it easy for yourself. Email notifications. LinkedIn is making it extremely easy to communicate from whatever platform. Email notifications allow you just not to forget. Very simple. It goes under settings and privacy under the communications tab. And I encourage everybody, if you are going to be using LinkedIn for your social selling, set up your email notifications. And that's just the approach that I personally have and that we have for everything. You know, I'll reference some of the services and products throughout this webinar that we have. For example, our automation system, we always make sure that we send messages we send notifications to people to let you know, hey, you got an exciting prospect that wants to talk. Timing is of the essence. So get email notifications that remind you, make it top of mind. The other thing is that you can respond directly from these emails. It's really cool. You don't have to log into the LinkedIn platform and go to the message. You can get an email notification and you can respond right there. Um, One other last thing that I'll say on this, and this is important, just this morning, funny, I got an email from someone who potentially wanted to move forward with us strictly because of our response time. That's a big deal now, you guys. So again, getting these notifications so that you can quickly and promptly respond and promptly engage, these are things that make people organically feel like you're really intentionally engaging with them. And that's important. Again, we're going to talk about separating yourself from the noise. Timely responses will be something that can help separate you from the noise. And again, I just wanted to put a nice little screenshot in there just to help you all follow and get to that spot. Very quickly, manage your conversations. Manage your conversations. And this is important because every conversation isn't important. Again, talking about the noise, make it easy for yourself. Create a process that you can efficiently go through your inbox and manage your admin. LinkedIn just added a number of filters. You can archive messages, you can sort them by my connections, unread, InMail, spam. You can mark these things as spam. That's going to be something that we're going to go through and talk through a little bit. Clean up your message inbox. Clean it up. One of the things that we've learned when we work with prospects and we start talking about how they're currently doing business and just what are ways that we can optimize, people who have cleaned up inboxes just seem to get better results. But imagine that. But I can imagine that because it's organized. You're able to prioritize. You're able to put the people you want to engage with at top. So make sure you're truly filtering and managing this. You can mark them as unread. Again, really cool feature. I definitely am one of those people where I've accidentally saw a message, didn't have time to respond. And the next thing you know, I forget to go back to it because it's already an unread message and I didn't think about it. It's not loaded anymore. These things help you remember and help you prioritize your day. That way you can focus on the prospects you want to focus on and not the people who are going to keep inundating themselves. Again, quickly, you can also mute, you can delete. The idea here is clean up your inbox, you guys, because that way, when you start your day with a clean, efficient, organized inbox, you are going to start off on a much stronger foot to begin intentionally and organically engaging with people. And that's the goal that we want to do here. You don't want to start off every single day and have to go through 30 messages to get to the real meat, the real exciting things. Clean up your inbox. One-time optimization of that can make your life so much easier. Mute the conversations, delete them. And report them. This is something that we don't talk about too much. But you can report messages to LinkedIn. That is one thing, again, that we are noticing. There is just such a rise in also bots, spam. So you can flag messages and things like that. Don't be afraid to do that. That's one thing that we do like to tell people. It's also one of the reasons when we talk best practices, this is getting off of this just a tad bit, but one of the things when we're talking best practice that's important to know, leverage your mutual connections. Leverage the people you may know. If you are going to go after a third degree connection, which is basically a connection that you do not have someone in common with or anything in common, consider how can you be intentional. If you're going to interact and engage with a person who you've never had contact with, they've never seen your brand before, take a quick second back and say, okay, first off, what's the relationship that I'm trying to build here? What's the outcome I'm trying to build here? What's that process truly look like? Before you send a salesy message, is there value? Is this a long-term play? Is this a company or an organization that you want to go immediately in for the sale? Or do you want to just start connecting and then maybe view their profile or engage with some of their posts and slowly but surely Think about this. Because just as we're telling you guys to start to report these things to clean up your inbox, other people are being given that same type of advice. Again, remember, we're talking about separating yourself from the noise. If you're going to engage with what we call a cold audience, how are you going to warm them up? How are you going to be seen as not being this unwanted message, not being this spam person? Consider that. I'm going to just quickly take a look at it at the chat really fast. Oh, yes, I can send the recording out to everyone. Yes, yes. And we definitely can, Claudia. Oops, whoa, that's not what I meant to do. Back to engagement. So LinkedIn has also added a few new things very quickly here that what you can do. Some of you have seen this, just want to reiterate. You can do more than just comment and like on a page now. You can react to it just like you can for everyone who has an iPhone. Apple came out with these updates quite a bit ago where you can react, love, like, share, laugh at all of these different emojis. Start to leverage that. One thing that, again, remember you guys, and I'm going to keep reiterating that because that's the purpose of today, separate yourself. It's the little things. Sometimes it's not these huge pivots that we take that separate ourselves. Sometimes it's a number of very small intentional details. So remember, when you are reacting to messages, you can do more than just like or comment. You can laugh at, you can heart, you can do these things. You remember that you can comment. That's another actionable takeaway from today. Don't just share, don't just comment. Make a comment on what you're sharing. Why are you sharing this? When you're sending an article to people, you can send it directly now. Now I know that not sure how familiar you are with social media, but one of the old school ways that people would do things is you would just tag someone on a post. So, I may go under and tag Mr. Halligan on a post that I want him to see. You can send it directly now. Take advantage of that. Don't just send that article. Send a message of why. Why are you sending that to Bill? Organically engage with people. One thing we did a webinar a few weeks or a week or so ago, and one thing that we talked about is earning the right to sell. And that's what we're talking about today. Earning the right to sell to people. Again, you can forward messages, and right there where it says write a message, that's going to be key. Write that message. This is a great place to leverage it, to set up your company, to set up other industry leaders and thought experts as experts. So many strategies you can do with some of these new capabilities LinkedIn has rolled out. InMail is not dead. I say that again, InMail is not dead. For example, recruitment is seeing some all-time highs at InMail responses. Now, there are certain industries that are seeing as high as 99.9% non-response rate. There's a balance, but that's just like in marketing. There's always going to be a balance of it. The thing about InMail that I strongly consider anyone to remember, there's two things. Number one, don't be afraid to try it. For everyone, all of our clients have Sales Navigator. If you do not have Sales Navigator, I strongly recommend that you sign up for them. They typically offer a free 30-day trial. You should look into Sales Navigator. For everyone who has Sales Navigator, just so you know, you already have InMails. Try them out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Again, if you would like to talk through using InMail as a strategy, let's set up a time to chat. But I'll go back to a point that we talked just a little bit ago, and it is understanding that with InMail, you already have this connotation of spammy, salesy. Because of that, how can you again separate yourself from the noise? If you are going to take that approach, how are you going to be different? Understanding that the person on the other side of that computer already thinks or potentially could think all of these different things that we've already discussed. So if you're going to do it, don't just rush it. Try a real approach. But InMail is not dead. I want to say that, There's a lot of people who've been talking about that. And again, we're seeing that. But again, in recruitment, we're seeing people who literally haven't had this is the best response to InMail, and they're focusing very strongly and solely on InMail type of campaigns. So again, InMail is not dead as prior to what some people are saying. This is technical difference. I wanted to address this. I'm so happy we put this in here. You can now share posts via LinkedIn messaging also. We wanted to reiterate that. So it's not just sharing them directly, like we were saying, on a page of somebody, on a profile page. You can send that post directly to them on LinkedIn. You can do it both ways, and that is important. And I just wanted to send just another screenshot right there of how you essentially do that. And again, this is a perfect breakdown of the two different ways. On the left here, you can see what it's like to send to a person. And then on the right, you can see what it's like when you just want to post online. LinkedIn actually has some really cool integrations. We're going to actually have a whole other segment on that next month where we're going to discuss that. They can start to incorporate your Twitter and a number of different things like that. Right? So again, LinkedIn has really started to make life easy and efficient. Efficient is the way to go. You can now add attachments. We don't got to spend too much time on this since as simple as it is, but this is important. You can send attachments. This is something else I want to reiterate. We didn't even touch on this in our customer webinar. Smart links. Smart links. Smart links is a new feature and navigator that you have. It actually tracks, just like it sounds, all of the links that you put into a message. It even tracks the links you put in an attachment. It is awesome. Write that down. Look into smart links. So not only can you send attachments through LinkedIn, LinkedIn has taken their capabilities where you can see open rate. You can see how long somebody stayed on a page. Yes, it's cool. So now we can finish that selling process that we started on LinkedIn when we opened up a conversation. Now we can send PDFs, files, presentations, and we can track data and analytics on it. That's extremely, extremely cool and extremely powerful. Adding attachments. Just simply right there under your message. Very simple. Very quickly, we did adjust this. Sending LinkedIn voice messages, sending LinkedIn voice message. One caveat to this, you do need the LinkedIn mobile app. I'm going to say that I'd encourage everyone to get the mobile app. Every once in a while, typically what happens is LinkedIn releases some of their features, and a lot of times the features will only be released in beta on the mobile app. Perfect example, LinkedIn stories. You can now do stories on desktop and things like that. When they first rolled out LinkedIn stories, you actually could only do stories on the mobile app. So you definitely want to have that in your back pocket. It goes to another point we talked earlier today about efficiency, quick replies, again, timeliness, separating yourself. So this is another cool way to separate yourself. Everyone's doing this messages, these written messages. Voice and video. Remember, again, I told you we'd reiterate it multiple times. We're talking separating yourself and organically engaging. When's the last time any of you got a voice message from someone on LinkedIn? A video message? How cool would that be if someone sent you a voice message or a video message? Because we're not getting them a bunch, how much more inclined would you be to open up a voice message or open up a video message from a prospect? We all would, because we're not getting a lot of that. It's different. It's unique. We got to start taking advantage of these capabilities that other people aren't doing, again, in order to separate ourselves from the noise. So LinkedIn voice messages, LinkedIn video messages, you guys, these are cool tools, cool tools. All you do is you open it up to the person. Again, you need the mobile app. So if you're trying this on your desktop, it will not work. But if you open up the mobile app and open up your contact, you can hold the microphone and leave that message directly right there. So awesome. And then video. You can do both live and pre-recorded, So you can have different messages. You can have different video messages depending on the sales cycle that they're in. In our webinar last a few weeks ago, we talked through the different buckets that people are in LinkedIn and how you need to make sure that your marketing and your engagement is appropriate for the bucket that they're in. There's cold buckets, there's warm buckets, there's hot buckets. Your visitors are always in a bucket. Understanding which bucket they're in and making sure that your marketing is appropriate, it's key to driving people to the next step. That's one thing that we always tell people about organic engagement. Organic engagement is not defined by taking a cold person and bringing them all the way down to the conversion point of buying. No. Organic engagement is identifying the different buckets that people are in and slowly moving them to the next. And if you are consistently doing that, you are consistently creating a pipeline that is slowly moving people appropriately. That's how you create a prospect or pipeline. That's how you build rapport. And yes, you build avenues and platforms that allow people to skip steps, but you also make sure that when people don't want to skip steps, that your platform or that your strategy is really going to slowly move them from being cold to being warm, move them from being warm to being hot, hot to conversion. These are ways that you can do that. Again, if we talk about anything today that you take away, what do you have a strategy for the different buckets of all of the different visitors coming to your LinkedIn page? Cold, warm, hot, at minimum. Think about that. Video messages, same where you would send a video, a voice message. Very similar places. Really quickly, we just talked through some integrations. Like I just mentioned, I don't know if I went too quickly through that. LinkedIn does have Twitter integrations now. LinkedIn does have Twitter integrations now. So for everyone that is active on Twitter, if you would like to talk through that, send me a message. We can talk through some of the cool things that you can do. It's not a ton of different things, but there are some cross-posting similar to how Facebook and Instagram does that. It's very cool. It is also integrated with Zoom, Blue Jeans, Microsoft Teams, all of those things so that you can schedule video conferences. You can schedule virtual webinars, virtual events that are already synced to a Zoom, all of these different things. You can send video conference requests, all of the different things. Apologies. Sending video meeting links with LinkedIn messages, same space that we just went through before. So same place that we could send attachments, same place that we could send video, same place that we could send voice. We can also send the video meeting links, whether it's Zoom, your Microsoft Teams, whichever platform. Again, we've been talking efficiency, syncing, integrating as many things as we can. Group chat. Group chat. LinkedIn now allows you to create group chats. It's very simple. Just go on to messaging. Obviously, we'll have some screenshots for you to how to go through it. You can just start to go ahead and add your people. You can create a naming convention and you can go up to 50. I strongly, strongly encourage anybody on this call whose goal and job is to be a thought leader and to be an expert to strongly start to consider not just the group chat, but the LinkedIn group function, LinkedIn group function. And then one of the really cool ways that you can drive traffic to your groups, drive create or engagement to your groups is by leveraging and using the message group function. But don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid to send out invites. Don't be afraid to send out group chats that are appropriate. Remember, they need to be appropriate. I can't state that enough on this call. Remember to take a step back before we're doing these interactions and engagement and ask yourself, how is this going to be received? If I were one of these 30 people I'm going to be sending in here, how would I receive that? And by taking those 30 seconds to make sure that we consider that before we do this, it could really make sure that we put our best foot forward. And that's all we can ask. Very quickly, we've talked about how LinkedIn is has added an event feature, and that is really really cool. A few new technical pieces they've added since they've launched this feature. Once people start to click attend, and when they're going to that event, you can do you can send them all messages, you can send them all chats, so that's really cool. um, One of the really cool features that they just added is the ability to send messages leading up to the actual event date. You weren't always able to do that. And the other thing that they've done is they keep it open. So unlike on other platforms where an event ends, the dialogue ends, you can actually continue to engage and message attendees after that event technically closes on that same page and platform. So it's another great way to continue to promote engagement and event. Um, and then there's also in the event chat. So one of the things that LinkedIn is also doing, again, making just life easier. When you start a virtual event on LinkedIn, it also has its own chat feature that you can encourage people to use. And it'll be right there. So you can ask a question, you can ask a post, you can do all of those different types of things. It's awesome for large groups. Oops. And as we are wrapping up today, yes, and also it's perfect for large groups. So as we're wrapping up today, I wanted to say first off, thank you, and I appreciate everyone's time today. I'm going to open it up and look through this chat, but a few heavy takeaways from today. Number one, separating yourself from the noise starts with being genuine. It starts with being genuine. Number two, ask yourself, have you earned the right to sell? Have you earned the right to sell? Number three, what bucket is this prospect that I'm engaging with in? And based upon that bucket, am I engaging with them properly? And matter of fact, do I have a strategy for all the different buckets that my prospects and visitors may be in? And then number four, don't be afraid to take time to dig into LinkedIn, you guys. We talk about this so much. We do these webinars twice a month. Why? Because it works. We are watching so many businesses make so much money and leverage so many great connections by doing things the right way. Just because it's a noisy space, it is still an awesome space and opportunity for business to business, enterprise, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, IT, finance, all of these different things. LinkedIn's an awesome space. We just have to pivot, just like we always have to do in social media. That's always going to be a call sign of social media, is adjusting to the market, adjusting to what's happening. But if we can do that, you guys, LinkedIn could really help take your business to the next level. So I appreciate everyone's time. We will be doing this again next month. We do this once a month. Like I said, for all of our customers, thank you for joining. We do a special version of this for our customers also. Let me make sure I didn't. All right, let me see if there's some questions. Is smart links only via InMail? No, Mr. Dobner. You can do smart links. No. You can send smart links just through any regular direct message that you're sending to people. You can reach out to me, Rich or Ellie, and we can show you how we can add smart links to your campaign. Claudia, yes, ma'am. I can absolutely get you the recording and cost. Chantel, yes, you can invite for live videos. Yes, you can. Boom. Well, I took up a little more time than we normally do, so I appreciate everyone who stayed off. Does anyone have any other questions before we go? Like I said, I know we're a little over, I apologize, but does anyone have any other questions before we take off today? Well, I appreciate everyone's time. As always, please, Chantel, yes, ma'am.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to say something. I'm new to LinkedIn because I used to work in the industry, like it was a government, we're not allowed to go so much on social media and post. And now I'm new with LinkedIn, but every time I attend a workshop or webinar, because I only put my picture, I didn't update my LinkedIn. I have so many people going and check while I'm working on doing my LinkedIn, and so many people are already my guests on LinkedIn, but it's really bothering me the number of people who are going to check my LinkedIn while I'm not ready to post my new company. What kind of advice you tell me? Because people know me from my past experience, but I'm not ready to put it until everything is set up with my company.
Yes, ma'am. So Chantel, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go under your privacy settings, and you're going to need to make your profile private, which you can do. And what it will do is it won't stop people who you're currently connected with, but it won't, and also full transparency, it also won't stop people with Sales Navigator. That's another reason why we use Sales Navigator and why we encourage people to do it. Part of what you're paying for is the ability to find people who have a private profile. So I want to be very honest with you that it'll fix some of your issues, but yes, ma'am, that's what you're going to want to do. So it's very simple. You're going to want to, and we can talk. I know there's a number of people in here. I can just go take you through how to do it. But yes, ma'am, it's under your settings. Make your profile private. But like I said, I just want to be very honest with you. If people have Sales Navigator, they still can find you, but that's going to be the quickest way to do it is make your stuff private until you finish. And then regular people who search your name, they can't find it. It won't come up on Google SEO or anything like that. It'll only come up for people who have Sales Navigator and LinkedIn who then search your name.
And another question is, I want to Photoshop my picture. It was not properly done, and I don't know how to do it. The picture I put on the profile. Is there a place we go to do that?
As far as taking the picture or editing the picture or just actually posting the picture on your page? The
picture, yes, I don't like the picture the way it is. I want to Photoshop that, and I don't know how to. There is a background I don't like on the picture. I don't know how to do it.
Put it this way, Chantel, I'm going to put my email in the chat really quick. Shoot me an email and I can have someone from my team help with something as simple. Sociallyin.com. Just Lorenzo at sociallyin.com. I'm going to put that in here really quick. But yes, ma'am, if you shoot me an email, that's something I can help you. Absolutely. No big deal whatsoever.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. That's what we're here for. Any other questions or comments before I let everyone go? Well, I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We will be doing this a couple times in September. As always, if you have more questions or comments, just reach out to me. But I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thanks for joining this one.
Yeah, have a good day, Lorenzo.
You as well.